I think fall is my most nostalgic season. Every time the leaves start to change and the temperature shifts, I get really melancholy. I'm suddenly back in high school running cross country, or I'm in college and I'm walking down State Street crushing dried up leaves. It's a time where I'm sad and reflective, but in a cool way. One of my favorite podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts. Nope. Start over again. Nope. One of my favorite podcasts is called Podcast The Ride. One of my favorite podcasts is called Podcast The Ride. It's about theme parks and other nerdy marginalia. It's really about trauma. They have a lovely 2-part episode on the hubris and the failure of Hard Rock Park, which was, as you might expect, a rock and roll themed amusement park in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was open in the early to late aughts. And yes, it's part of the same Hard Rock brand you love buying those t-shirts and shot glasses from in Prague and Orlando and Jerusalem? In the episode, the hosts talk about a nostalgia for a place you've never been, which is how they describe their feelings towards Hard Rock Park. Because none of them have ever been there, but they all have the same kind of yearning and fond type of memories that they wish they had at this park. When they said it, I immediately knew what they were talking about. It's like putting your head in a time oven. It's like sexting, but for nostalgia. It's simulated, but it works in a pinch. When I was a tween, I had it good. I had my own laptop and Wi-Fi all throughout the house. I was completely glued to the computer, and practically the only website I went on was YouTube. I was mostly watching toy reviews, so it was a lot of men in their 20s and 30s showing off and talking about toys from the 80s and the early 90s. I was born in 95, so none of these toys had been on shelves while I was a kid, but it felt like they were. It felt like I was uncovering a past that I didn't know existed. These guys were showing off toys from before I was born, and yet somehow I felt nostalgic for it. It's like their enthusiasm and their yearning to capture moments from their childhood leapt through the screen and imprinted itself onto me. It felt like these were toys that were already in my collection. I already knew how everything was supposed to sound on the clicks and clacks. I knew, for example, on this guy, Generation 1 Ape Face, that the back of his robot mode, over time, the friction deteriorates, so you have to clip his ape legs onto the back like this. I've only had it for maybe 2 or 3 months, but I've been pining after it for so long that it feels like I've had it for a decade. This is my favorite piece of the toy. It's a gimmick called a headmaster, where the little man that you saw earlier turns into a head, and then he clips in to the body and displays these little stat bars. And it's a totally analog gimmick, and if you put in a different head, it'll give you different stat bars. I am astounded that I finally have one of these. in my collection. As a robot, he looks goofy as hell, but the magic of this toy is not his robot mode, even though the stat bars are cool. He transforms by shifting the whole orientation of the toy, which I love, and goes back to like old wooden quote-unquote converting toys that you would just flip over and you look at a different perspective and suddenly it's a man, where before it was an armadillo or something. This guy, as you can see by the hooks unfurling, is going to turn into an ape. Definitely not a typical organic ape, but more like what if they put an ape into your dreams where robots are chasing you trying to steal your fluids kind of thing. And it's scary. He has hooks for hands, he has a big visor for eyes, and it's hard to see because it's not painted, but his teeth are sharp. To borrow a phrase from my favorite toy reviewing YouTuber, this guy is friggin' weird. He has humanoid fists shooting out behind his legs. He has hooks that are meant to be ape hands. It's a weird toy from an era chock full of bizarre plastic robot men, and it scratches the same deep cerebral itch that I feel when I look at old Power Rangers things. I just ate an Airhead in between takes, and now my tongue is blue. So I'm not an expert, and I don't want to do much research. That said, there is a show I saw by the Neo-Futurists, an experimental theater group in Chicago, called Tangles and Plaques. It was created by K.R. Reber, who is their current artistic director. I don't think it's being performed anywhere right now, but if I can find a link or something for it, I will do a link or something for it. The show is about memory and how critical memory is in caring for ourselves as we age. People with Alzheimer's and dementia have memory care, where they are built rooms of things from their childhoods so that they can access the neural pathway. I fucking burped. The show is about memory and how as our brains age, we need our memories more and more, even though we continue to lose them. And nostalgia is our gateway to a memory. I think this is right. I don't know. Somebody correct me, please. So surrounding yourself with things from your childhood is helpful as you get older. I don't know how displaced nostalgia, like what this video is about, how that connects to memory and actual nostalgia, but memories are mutable, so it's very strange, and there are people more knowledgeable than me who are probably working on this as we speak. I just wanted to make a video about this cool toy that I've been after for a while, that I finally got my hands on, and this weird feeling that I had as a child and sometimes still have. If you like this video, comment, like, subscribe. I am gonna try to make more of them.